Trish.
And I'm Brandi.
And you're listening to episode 2 of
Connected Conversations. This is your space where international teachers, school leaders, and parents like us get together for real talk, real tips, and real conversations that go beyond the glossy brochures of international education.
That's right. Between us, Brandi and I have been doing this international teaching gig for nearly 40 years on 4 continents, in 8 countries, and countless types of schools.
So whether you're considering that first job abroad, you're trying to understand your child's new international school, or you're just figuring out if it's time for a change, we've been where you're sitting, and we're here to help you weigh the pros and cons through it all.
That's right. So if you've ever wondered, is teaching abroad really the dream job that everyone says it is? Then you're in the right place. It's time to get started and get connected.
Welcome back. Today's conversation is part of our International Files series, where we unpack the systems, logistics, and realities of moving, living, and working abroad. Today, we are diving straight into one of our most common topics that people ask us about, the myths of teaching overseas.
Yeah. There is so much information and misinformation out there. Things you hear in Facebook groups from recruiters or just from people who have never done it themselves.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So today we're pulling back the curtain and we're talking about some of the biggest misconceptions.
The behind the scenes truth that we've experienced firsthand, the knowledge we've gained from talking to hundreds of educators and peers along the way.
And practical tips to help you set realistic expectations. And we realized when we wrote this episode that most of these myths, they lay the foundation for the resources that we're working to provide for you.
That's right. That's right. And this is a quick reminder that you'll be able to find everything we talk about today and some resources and guides at our website, connectedglobal.org.
So if you've ever been on the fence about teaching abroad, or you've been daydreaming about escaping to that adventure abroad, this is your dose of real talk.
Are you ready? Let's dive in.
So myth number 1. I will be rich because the salaries look so high.
Yeah, we don't want to zoom out to our palaces here, but big headline. The big salary you read does not actually mean instant wealth, okay? Yeah. All right? European taxes can be brutal.
Absolutely.
And there are a lot of hidden costs, housing, healthcare, school fees, especially in a European contract, for sure.
The currency exchange can also be a big killer as well, especially if you don't have a bank account abroad and you're still using your home bank account.
Yeah, for sure.
Also, you got some new expenses because, hello, you are in a new country, you are international. And what do you want to do when you're international? You want to keep traveling.
That's right. That's right.
And then you might also want to go home at some point, and all of those flights back home to new countries, wherever it may be, it adds up. It costs some money.
Absolutely. Okay. So being a good budgeter in this world will be really important for you. Okay. So where can you still save? Yeah, like 15 years ago, that was the Middle East, easily. Southeast China, not so much, but great, like low cost of living, all these things. China is an up and coming, like high salaries place. So use ChatGPT, our great friend. Okay.
That's right.
to aid in your research for sure. Okay. So and do your homework on cost of living. Check out our country guides, which we are currently updating. We'll have an annual update to those at our website, connectedglobal.org.
And also, in a few episodes, we'll be focusing on how to financially plan for living abroad. So stay tuned.
Absolutely. Okay, here it is, myth number 2. Any English speaker can teach. No qualifications needed.
Oh, no.
Is that true?
Legit schools are always going to require teaching credentials. Yep. Even the TEFL jobs, teaching English as a foreign language, they also often require real TEFL actual certificates.
Yeah.
And also, not all TEFL certifications are treated the same. When you're looking for a TEFL course, we're going to dive into this later, don't worry, but you really have to look for the courses that have in-person teaching practice.
Yeah. Teaching in front of students is different than teaching online to imaginary ones. So definitely. And what else about that TEFL teaching world,
Oh my gosh, the grammar. Oh, the grammar. I'm a native English speaker, and I had no idea about English grammar. I never was taught that. I learned about modal verbs, gerunds, infinitives, past, perfect, continuous. The list goes on, and it can be really hard. There's definitely a learning curve when you have to teach it, not only learn it.
Yep. That's not to scare you away. It's just saying, temper your expectations for these things. Being a native speaker does not actually mean you're going to get an automatic hire. And a lot of people who have learned to speak English are better English teachers of the language because they have been through the struggles that students have. So
that's a good point.
The one positive you do have is native pronunciation is often valued over experience at times, and that's why there's a lot of bilingual roles or co-teacher roles right now. So go over to our connecttoglobal.org, and I've got a great comparison chart that we've been working on, like different types of schools, the qualifications you need, and how you can find your sweet spot of opportunity abroad.
All right, so let's get on to myth number 3. Getting a visa will be easy.
Do you have a non-EU passport? Are you from a certain country? Unfortunately, visa struggles are real.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm working in HR, and that just means that it's not the fault of the school. It's not my fault, but I just can't get you a visa if you're from some countries, and depending on the country I'm currently working in. So there are different. It's called the power of the passport, we say. And so there are different countries that just don't have reciprocities with others. So the more you know the power of your passport, the better you will be in this world, okay? Yes. In this teaching world abroad. So it's too difficult to break it all down in this episode, but we just want to debunk the myth that visas are not easily obtainable all the time for everybody, okay? So go over to our website, and we've got a global teacher visa and reciprocity overview guide that we've kind of put together that should help you out with that.
And we're going to include some links to these documents in our show notes.
Absolutely.
By the way, just so you know.
We want to maximize your job search productivity here. And visa sponsorship isn't guaranteed, especially for Americans, Canadians, and Aussies coming into Europe.
But there are some visa companies that can help you.
That's so true.
They will go through the process with you, and they will take your documents, go to the official government offices. But those companies are not cheap.
Yeah. And then you run the risk of getting deported if you do it wrong.
Oh, which is what I did.
What happened in episode 1, Brandi?
Go to episode 1 and find out when I was deported from Czech Republic.
Okay. So, I was just talking to a friend who stayed with me this weekend. She's from New Zealand, and she was telling me about a time when she was hired in December. So school finishes in December there for a January start in Indonesia. And she thought, great, there's only 2 weeks where I'll have a holiday and I get right into a new school year. And it took 3 months before the school finally said, you're not getting your visa. It should be pretty easy, like she's from an approved country kind of thing. But it was just taking too long. And so they brought her in on a short-term work visa or a short-term temporary pass. And then she had to go back to New Zealand in the break to get it. So there's just a lot of stuff. The more information you know, the more you'll know.
Yeah. And a good tip is whenever you are applying for a job, ask if there's any visa support that is going to be provided. And we are also creating a visa document checklist, and that will be ready for you guys very soon.
All right. Myth number 4, teaching abroad is just like teaching at home.
Ooh, there's so many factors that play into this myth. It's just incomparable. You can have a way different workload. The parent involvement varies from school to school. Also, the behavior of students and the expectations that you can have of students vary from culture to culture. A great example is that some countries even ask you to work on Saturday, and you can also have different duties that go beyond the school work day, like after school clubs, for example.
Yeah, for sure. In some countries, like in the Middle East, I know for sure in Oman, Sunday through Thursday is their work week, and they have a different weekend, like due to religious and cultural things. So Southern Hemisphere schools might have a different calendar. This may be, some of you may think, wow, you're speaking the very beginning basics, but some of us don't know this in the beginning. So just be aware of those kinds of things, and traveling home for what you think is a holiday or Christmas time might not be the same with your school calendar. So just be really clear about that. Yeah.
I think every country has their own cultural norms that can change everything. Like we know in Czech Republic, Fridays are like basically a no work. I mean, they're work days, but like people work half days, everyone calls off.
And you get like most schools release at noon. And like because there's early release in a lot of Czech schools, you have a 13th year of school. So for a while they did a 12-year education like we did here in America, but now they've gone back to the 13th year. They believe it's better for students. So
I would say another thing that really shocked me in this international teaching life was the absence of parents. Like you have many, many wealthy families, and they're just busy running businesses and doing wealthy things.
Yeah.
And so instead of seeing parents, you mostly, at least I've mostly seen like nannies and drivers who are interacting with the teachers.
For sure. Yeah. And when I was in South Korea, one of my biggest culture shocks, that was my first big post abroad. They expected us to attend and participate in a mandatory Wednesday team building, which was the staff volleyball team. So we had the principal's team, the vice principal's team. You were on one of them. And also you had Friday dinners every other Friday. And so this was great for me. I got to build great community, but it was difficult for my trailing spouse and my 1-year-old son who was at home. So these are different things, different places.
Yeah. Myth number 5, everyone speaks English.
Everyone. We can summarize this pretty quickly, Brandi. No. And this is totally country by country specific. So just please, this generalization has to stop, like that I speak English and everybody wants to learn English. That's also not the case. This is location specific. It's also most capital cities. Of course, you're going to run into a lot of English, but in daily life, the language barrier can be really, really real. Even within your schools, the local language often dominates the informal settings, because a lot of the local staff are in the admin office and they speak the local language. So
that's true.
Learning the basics can absolutely help you in shopping, healthcare, housing. Like when I was in South Korea, I learned basic taxi cab English and able to also talk to the bus drivers. So super important. I knew counting and taxi cab English, and it was enough to get me through.
Really important.
Yeah.
I have a really funny story to share. So when I first came to Czech Republic, I tried to do my good job and learn a little bit of Czech. And a very important phrase is, do you speak English? So in Czech, that's mluvíte anglicky. Well, I got really confused and switched this sentence for I speak English, mluvím anglicky. It's almost the same. I'm in a grocery store. I'm having problems. I need some help. I'm going up to random strangers. And instead of saying, do you speak Czech? I'm saying, do I speak Czech? Do I speak Czech? Sorry, do I speak English? Do I speak English? Do I speak English?
No, you don't. Just the answer to kind of both of those.
No, I can't speak any language. Oh, man.
Oh, my God. It's so true. But you were trying, and that's what we're trying to say here. Above all, it's important to respect your host country and learn some basics. And you know what? It makes for great stories in the future. So a little bit goes a long way. And we're not trying to, push English on everyone, you're here to experience their culture as well. So enjoy that. Okay, time for myth number 6. The school will sort everything out for me.
No. They don't sort out your housing. Mostly, they don't sort out your housing. They won't sort out your utilities, setting up a phone, setting up a bank account. Those things are on you.
Yeah. In most schools, absolutely in most schools, even the good schools, they'll guide you, but they won't do it all, and the larger and more established schools, you may be able to get officials to come to your campus if they talk to the right people and know the right people, for example, in Thailand, my school got the visa people to come and stamp all our stuff on the same day. So we did our fingerprints and our annual criminal checks, regularly once a year, but that's a special case.
Yeah, that's so nice. I never had that.
Most of the time you just know you have an appointment on Tuesday and you got to find it. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
A good idea is to check out your induction week schedule or your welcome back week schedule. And then you'll find those gaps where you can possibly talk to somebody at school and ask if they will offer you some support, some advice on where to go.
Yeah. And for those admin tasks, which one stressed us out the most. For me, I remember that it was in China. I didn't even know what a VPN was. Oh. Sorry, maybe I shouldn't talk about that on here, but I was just naive to it, I'm of a different age of the rest of the world. So when I got to China, the things I thought would work, like Facebook and Google and these things, I couldn't even tell my parents that I had arrived really because I didn't have the normal methods of communication. Yeah. So VPN was a big thing for me and negotiating with my landlord. I got money for the place from my school, but I didn't know how to really, it was difficult to set up my contract with my landlord.
Yeah, I get that. For me, it was going to the post office and sending a package or receiving a package. Nothing in the post office was in English. I didn't know how to do the forms, and the systems were totally different, and I made mistakes, and I had a lot of really bad days where people were not nice to me, and I was like, I don't, Louis Anglitsky.
And check one is like, no, yeah. Exactly, for sure. So.
Myth number 7, making friends will be easy.
Oh, this is so dependent on who you are. You know, I find the older that I get, I've now been doing this for 25 years, and the higher you are in leadership, in my opinion, it just takes a lot of time to build community, you know, especially if you don't know the language. Naturally, your colleagues are your first community. Of course, you've got a little bit, but you know, and when you join as new hires, so maybe like the school has hired 3 or 4 teachers starting that year, it's kind of nice because you're a sub community. You're all kind of like learning it at the same time.
Like little newbies together. Yeah. It's true, though.
It's really true.
Yeah.
So you can rely on those. However, you got to make it bigger, right?
Yeah.
Your community has to be bigger than school.
You can take a look at expat groups. You can find the groups on like Facebook or Instagram. There's a lot of different communities wherever you go. And a lot of them will be English-based communities as well.
And this is something we really want to set up in the future on this website. We really want to make country-specific communities to help you out. So we're looking forward to that, but down the line.
Yeah, but I think the big thing overall is that this is a transient lifestyle. We have friends that are constantly rotating in and out of our lives. And we have also been those friends that are rotating in and out of each other's lives and for other people as well. Yeah. It can be really hard, and building connections can be really tough. But I think the biggest thing to keep in mind is that you just have to get out there. Yeah. And I can speak from personal experience. I'm an introvert. I'm not a go get out there type of person. It can be tough, but accepting invites from people, even when you don't want to go or you're uncomfortable, it goes a long way.
Absolutely. And finding your passion outside of school and bringing that passion with you, like join those groups that will like help you flourish, you know, find yourself outside of school. I like hiking. So I've been on some hiking trips in different countries. You know, I've been poetry clubs, book clubs, drama clubs in different locations, and it gets you connected with people who aren't always talking about school. You don't want that. Okay. And we're a good place to stay connected here. That's what we're trying to build, is this nice community of people around the world.
Definitely. So, yep. Don't forget, there's also the 5 stages of culture shock.
Oh, yes. Those are so important, and they're under discussed. You know, like if you don't know about the 5 stages of culture shock, it first came about by a Finnish-Canadian researcher, Karl Oberg in 1954. And he like has gone through all this, and we're creating a guide that will help you through this and kind of like help you recognize it, because there isn't a single teacher that does not experience culture shock. And the more you do it, the more countries you switch to, the faster you go through the phases, the more adaptable, resilient you become.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think when you know those stages, you're also more aware of like, okay, this is the part where I'm hitting a low, or like, I know it's going to come back up. So it gives you some perspective.
I'm in the adaptation stage. I can do this.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Myth number 8. I'll just do it for a year and then I'll go home. That's what we said. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. The contracts internationally, they usually are 2 years or more. And breaking contracts can really hurt you professionally. Some places will fine you. There can be visa risks as well. You can also be on blacklists. That exists out here. And then also re-entering the job market back in your home system. It's not always easy.
And that's not to make you scared with it. We're just trying to say like it's just not as in and out as you sometimes think. Maybe the TEFL world is, sure, you know, do the gap year, but we're talking more the international teaching world. And you got to remember, you're making commitments to schools and to contract and to students, and that changeover, that's really difficult. And schools are investing in you you want a big job with housing, salary, all of these things included. You got to give something back, you know, and so they're making an investment in you, and you owe that to them. So definitely, it's not, I've seen people stuck in the 1-year loop, just one more year, or the opposite.
Or the opposite,
like, or you get to a school and you're already looking for the next jump, you know, like be careful about that, you know. I don't think it's as easy as just, I'll try it out. And
no, it's not.
Yeah. If you stick to it, it can give you big rewards. Go back to myth number 1 and you'll see the salary and the savings pile up.
Nelly. Myth number 9. All international schools are the same.
No, hardly. Okay, there's a massive spectrum, as you can guess, just like there is back in your home country. You know, you got charter schools, you got independent, you got all of these. Okay, there are out here also supportive versus toxic, learning focused versus profit driven. You know, there's too many differences to mention on this podcast, but we are going to in future episodes talk about some of those.
Right.
Big things to note. That if you're looking for a school that is reliable, look for accreditations. Okay. I didn't know much about that before I moved abroad, but accreditations are a type of baseline of credibility. Mm-hmm. This can be like a stamp on their website that says we, CIS, Cognia, NIAS, IB, we follow this curriculum or we use this internationally recognized seal of approval. You know, that's really what it's about, a seal of approval and standards.
And it gives you a lot of security in the way that the school is being run, that there have been multiple people who have said, yes, this is a great way to do this system or this system. But you definitely have to do your own research. One way to do this is check out your school's website before you get hired or as you're job hunting, and make sure to trust your gut. Like, that's one of the most important things.
Absolutely. You know, you can read online reviews, you know, they never tell the full story because often it's the disgruntled people who go and complain, you know, more than the happy people. And that's one of the reasons why we wanted to do this, because we want to have more joy and we want to focus on the joy. And we know that there's a lot of great stories that are not being told by educators out there. And that's what we want to bring to you. So did you ever run across an international school that like wasn't what it said it was, or what was a surprise?
Yeah, definitely. I had this moment where I was like, oh, what did I get myself into? I was out of school. They had just opened up a whole new section of the school, and the big focus was get parents here. We need more students. We need more parents.
Marketing.
Yeah. And I feel that the international teaching realm is, a lot of it can be about marketing because they are profit driven. And my big moment was, I was putting student work out in the hallway, and the director of the school said, no. We only put like refined posters out in the hallway that have been professionally made. And I was like, but what? It's student work. But you find out that that's a big part of international schools, that you have to have a profit or the school doesn't run.
Yeah. And that means you're kind of a mini marketer. Everything you do, your classroom is a mini marketer. And that doesn't mean that all schools don't let you put your kids' art up, you know, but that's just some different ones.
Right. How about you?
For me, when it was, when I went to the Emirates, the school just was, it was a new school, and I knew I was there for the startup year. And I like that. If you watched episode 1, that's what I enjoy in this realm. However, they weren't exactly clear about where they were on the opening process. So we were like 3 months, 4 months without books for students. And it's hard to teach classes without books.
A little bit.
So,
a little bit.
Without curriculum.
Yeah. And this is why we've created a resource, and you can find it on our website. It's called Is This School a Good Fit for Me? And it includes questions that you can ask a school. And it's both from the educator perspective and also the parent perspective.
Because remember, that's what we're going to keep giving you, parents and moms perspectives.
Definitely.
Excellent. Okay, today's final myth number 10. Every day will be an adventure.
Dun, dun, dun. Okay, it's a little bit true, just a little bit, but we do need to debunk a lot in this myth. There are tons of magical moments. Living abroad it's a fantasy life in many, many ways. But that being said, there's just as many boring and frustrating ones as well. A lot of this is because of the bureaucracy. You also experience deep, deep homesickness. And there's tons of cultural bumps that are just part of the package.
Because while you're out living your best life, the people back home are still living theirs. I don't know. It's odd. The audacity of it all. I don't know. But just as you think of that, you know, like we're here to help you with those culture shock resources to help you through this, you know. And
when times are tough, and they will get tough, I think one of the most important things is just to keep perspective. If you make the jump to live abroad, you've already done the hardest part. And every time you challenge yourself and you take these small risks and you go out of your comfort zone, you build this strength and trust inside yourself. And I think just keeping that perspective and awareness is really important. But aside from that, you also have to dig into your hobbies. Whatever really fills you up with joy, like that needs to be something that you get to lean into when you're having a hard time, as well as any kind of support that you can find abroad. Friends that you've made, people who are nationals in the country you're living in, really lean into people.
And practice gratitude for those people, you know, like there are people here helping you, even though today it doesn't feel like it, you know, there are good moments happening around you, even though today it doesn't feel like it, you know, find those moments, celebrate those moments and connect with them. And the more that you focus on the positive ones, the more good things that will happen, you know?
That's such a good point.
That's so true.
What about you though? Like, what do you do when you're having a bad or hard time?
When it's a hard time, I do not sit there and broadcast it to people. When it's stressful, I unplug, I go back to my house, I go off grid 2 days. I have a sappy movie binge. I eat comfort foods. I call and reconnect with a good friend back home. I do not dwell in it. I try to face it head on and be honest about it, you know, like face it and move on. Move on. And then I call Brandi and we try to plan something that brings us joy, you know, like a walk, like try to re-fall in love with your community and your country, you know, because then every day will be an adventure. At least today will be.
Yes, exactly. So that's our top 10 myths debunked. Don't buy into those sparkly Instagram reels. You have to get the full picture.
Yeah, but be wise and do your research. Find the cost of living, the visa policies, the school culture. Teaching abroad is amazing and sustainable for the long term when you go in prepared.
Right. And besides that, being prepared and informed, it will only increase your success when you join us out here in the international teaching realm.
After all, you know, according to the January 2025 ISC research report, there are over 713,500 staff currently employed in international schools globally. Yep. And that factor doesn't even include the TEFL world, which probably doubles that, to be honest with you. That number is projected to grow to 780,000 by 2026. It's huge. This is a growing realm out there. So will you be one of our new colleagues in the years to come?
Yeah, we hope so. So this brings us to today's end. Thanks for spending time with us. And we know your time is limited and your tabs are many.
That's right. We mentioned a lot of resources today and we're ready to provide some of these and others are still in the works. So hop on over to connectedglobal.org and find them along with additional goodies like checklists, guides, comparison charts, and much more.
And over there, you can also book a personal consultation with us where we can connect and collaborate about whatever choices you're facing in order to help you compare your options abroad.
Absolutely. We'd love to hear from you about this episode. So please hit like and subscribe and drop us a comment below if something resonated with you.
And if you want to help connect a friend, please share this episode on with them on their journey to help them build their best international life. Or leave a quick review. It helps us reach even more people around the world.
Absolutely. So thank you again. We appreciate you. And until next time, may your contracts be clear,
your school Wi-Fi be strong,
and your coffee be fair trade and international.
You okay with your hair flip?
Yeah, it's okay. See, because when I have to look in the camera, which is what I need to do,
if the light was higher, or
the light. We're not still recording, are we?